Hi everyone, it's Justine. I moved from Germany to France 2 months ago. And the best part about cultural moves internationally are the differences between the cultures. Right now I'm in that sweet spot in between both countries and I'm noticing things about each culture that I didn't notice before or not as much. So I lived in Germany for years, long enough to be integrated, to speak the language properly, to work there, to make friends there. But also I was born and raised in France. And since I moved abroad and lived in Chile, New York, and Hamburg and Berlin, it's the first time that I'm living again in France. So I'm noticing cultural traits about my own country. And I'm like, we're really like this? Some of these points are quite hilarious. Some others are rather puzzling. It's weird. I'm seeing it almost from an outside perspective, if you see what I mean. The first point is food. And I know what you're going to say. Everybody knows, Justine, that food in France is so special, blah, blah. No. I don't think you really understand how much French people like their food. The time spent with food. So the time spent eating, hours every day. The time spent cooking the food, planning what they're going to eat, and then once they've eaten, talk about what they've eaten and review it. I realized that it's my culture too. When I was living in New York, I saw people walking on the street with a drink or with food, and they would eat while walking. And for me, if I have to do that on a given day, it's a huge failure. It means that I fail to manage my time properly out of 24 hours in a day to make at least half an hour for that special thing that keeps me healthy and happy. So yeah, French people spend a lot more time eating than I remembered. Then there is the quality of the food. French people spend so much more money than the Germans for food. No matter whether they're shopping in a supermarket or going out in a restaurant, they spend much more across the board. Whereas in Germany, with the culture that they have of the discounters, discount supermarkets, so Lidl, Aldi, Penny, Netto, all these things, they've made kind of a sport of looking for bargains. And it's something that I don't see going in a good direction, because when the meat costs more than €2, they're like, whoa, this is so expensive now. And I'm like, proper meat cannot cost less than €2, and it shouldn't. It cannot be good for you. You know what I mean? So quality is a huge thing in France. The French are also a lot more specific about what they eat. When you go to a restaurant in Germany, typically on the countryside, you would see menus where they say the meat is blah blah with this and this sauce, and then mit Gemüse with vegetables. And I was always like, yeah, but which one? What's inside? Because it matters a lot what the sides are, because it influences the taste of what you're eating, and it has to go together, and it's a science, right? Whereas in France, the menu would have 4 lines of text detailing every single sort of vegetable that is the side of what you're eating. So we're a lot more specific in France than in Germany. Well, and then there's the cheese. This I probably don't need to explain. We have probably thousands of sorts of cheese. Since I moved back to France, I'm actually relearning which cheese sorts come from which region. In French, we have appellation, so trademarked sorts of cheese that can only come from that and that region. Really, it's a science. And it's also fun. Food really is culture here. The next one is a really tough one for me right now. It's punctuality. As I'm French, I would naturally, in a work situation, arrive at the time of the meeting, or maybe a couple of minutes late if I had to go to the bathroom or pick up a notebook, whatever. At the time, but chill. It's a little bit flexible. In Germany, the meeting would start at the hour on the dot. When I started working in Germany, I got snapped at because I came a few minutes late a couple of times. And then I gathered that I needed to change my habits. And now I'm super punctual. Moving back to France, I find myself waiting for everyone else. So when I'm meeting friends, I say we're meeting at 9 p.m. German time. I tell them, because I don't want to wait 15 minutes for you. Normally in a social situation like a dinner, French people would intentionally arrive 15 minutes later as a sort of politeness to not stress out the host who's receiving them in their homes. And I'm like, no, 9, like it means 9. be there on time. And they're like, you're so German. I know. Sorry, I'm in between right now. Another example is traffic lights. If there's a traffic light in front of me and I'm a pedestrian and I see the road ending there and there, and it's completely straight, and I see that there and there is not a car coming, even if the traffic light is red, I will cross, because I think the traffic light is like a help, but not a replacement for your brain, right? Right? So if I see no car coming, red or green, I will cross. Whereas Germans would tend to wait for it to become green. And I'm like, what are you waiting for? There is no car coming. And the Germans would reply, yeah, but why are you stressing yourself out? You can also wait 10 more seconds for the light to turn green. You set a good example for the kid in the trolley right here with the mom, who are looking at you, and you get to your destination at about the same time. I guess that's right, but I stayed French on that one. Best example yet, train schedules. You're gonna see what I mean, and I think it's a typical example of the cultural difference there. Train schedules in Germany are printed on paper. That really impressed me when I moved to Germany, because you have these big posters with the train schedules for the entire day, and it's on every train platform in the country. And I wondered what happens if there is a change in plan, a train coming later, or maybe the cars are not in the same order, or there's a delay or whatever, like, or does Germany never have changes in plan? Because I know in France we have them a lot. Turns out, of course, they are changing in plan, but then people get really, really annoyed. Like you can hear on the platform, as soon as the speaker makes the announcement, today the cars are gonna come in the reverse order, people freak out. Like, oh man, das nervt, and now I have to walk to the other side, and blah, blah, blah. On that one, I'm the person saying, well, chill, because it's not their fault, obviously, and things are gonna happen. Like, you cannot control life or the climate or whatever tree just fell on the tracks, you know. Whereas in France, it's a lot more flexible. It's not printed anywhere officially like that. It's just displayed on huge screens. So potentially it can change at any time during the day, or 50 times within one day. Nobody cares because nobody notices. So when you arrive at the train station, you just check, this is my train, so it's gonna be on platform blah, 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 okay? And this is a car order today. And so if something changes, they just change the screens, the displays, and nobody really notices. So management flexible a la French versus more organized and structured a la German. Let's move on to the topic of cars. You know, Germany is the country of Porsche, BMW, Volkswagen, Mercedes, Audi, probably missing some. I'm not a car person. See, so I'm not very German. In Germany, cars matter a lot, and they're really a status thing. People will polish their cars, make it shine. They have bigger cars, better cars. They just spend more money on the car, less on the home and less on the food. If you scratch somebody's car in Germany and you leave without leaving your phone number and guaranteeing and swearing by God that you're going to pay for the repair, they will sue you. It's a big deal. Whereas in France, somebody scratches your car while leaving a parking spot, it happens a lot more often, and they do not give a damn. They will just keep driving and leave you with your scratch. They don't even care to ask, did I scratch you? Oh, I'm sorry. Nobody cares. And the person who gets the scratch doesn't really care either. French cars are scratched all over. I mean, it's also because the streets are narrower and this kind of thing, I think, but it's really also because the people care less. One of the biggest differences I see between France and Germany is a difference in the attitude, I should say, towards life. French people are a lot more about the art of enjoying life right now in a very hedonistic way. Is that the word? Hedonistic? Hedonism? Whereas the Germans are more practical. It sounds less sexy, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Quite the contrary, I think. They plan for retirement. They save money. They can make smarter, better, bigger, earlier investments. In the end, Germans have a lot more money saved up. They earn more, they save more, they're better off, and they're building their wealth, which is freeing in terms of stress during your working life. To a certain extent, it is the case. Whereas the French, they take their money and they go out for dinner. You know, French people tend to save a lot less and also to plan less for their retirement period. Personally, I stayed very French on that. I do not plan for retirement, and since I'm self-employed, I should be saving and capitalizing myself if I wanted to, because I'm outside of the public retirement system. Because I'm not employed, I'm alone. And when I said that to all my German friends, they were quite shocked. Like, they wouldn't say, this is bad and you should really do it. But I could feel that they think it's a little bit irresponsible. Germans save when they're employed as part of the public retirement system. They have pension funds on top and other systems and saving accounts and blah, blah on top. Like, they have several layers of savings for later. And I'm thinking, well, but I need the money now to build my business. I don't know if I'm gonna live after 67, which is the retirement age in Germany. So why would I plan everything for after 67? I don't want that age to be a reward for hard working life before that. I want the working life to be fun until that point, because I don't know how much longer I'm gonna live. You know what, if that makes sense? Like, I think much more about right now, and I don't need the big safety net. So I'm not planning for retirement. And in Germany, it's like, whoa. Then there is the language. In French, we're a lot less direct, I figured, than in German. Now that I'm living and working a little bit more in French again, which I haven't done for years. When you have a conversation in French, there is what is being said, and then all the levels and nuances of what's unspoken, and you have to be able to read in between the lines to understand the whole thing. In Germany, it's a lot more direct. People say what they think and what they mean. So in a business context or in a difficult topic, it's a lot easier to understand. If you are a non-native French speaker and you're learning French, congratulations, bravo to you, you're a hero. You chose a very, very difficult language. My French is rusty. It's not easy. It's not easy. Now let me very quickly touch upon the topic of design, because it's the lens through which I see everything, given my job. So I'm a little bit biased, let's say it that way. The difference between France and Germany on designing a home. Germans will make their home completely, fully finished, decorated, designed, thought through as much as possible. They really want to feel comfortable and gemütlich in there. Whereas the French care less. Objectively, I think. They might have pieces of furniture that don't fit together, that are just thrown in from previous flats or whatever, and they don't really care to turn it into one cohesive concept. I think it's because of the difference in climate. In Germany, there is more winter and there are more cold days in the year, so you need your space to be very cozy and very nice to be in. Whereas in France, especially in the southern half, people live outside more. So rather than having the best couch, they would focus on the terrace, on having a pool maybe, or having vineyards above your head that cast a nice shadow during the hot summer days onto your nicely set up lunch table. Here you see again, food. It's all about food. And then inside the house, the furniture is just going to be thrown in there. The floors are going to be tiles because it keeps your feet cool in summer and it's easy to clean. 1 bucket of water, you're done. Whereas in Germany, they put in the nice wooden floorings, and then you have to take off your shoes to keep the wooden floorings wooden and pretty. So there is really a difference of concept there. I think it mirrors a difference in the lifestyle and in the climate, but I might be wrong on this one. What do you think? That brings us to fashion, because of course I would talk about fashion in a video like this. I think France, Germany are completely two different worlds on that topic. I feel like French people put more thought into what they wear and how they combine it. Especially women, I feel they have more knowledge or maybe more intuition about what flatters their bodies, what doesn't, about their undertypes. Maybe they don't know what undertypes are, but they feel which colors work for them and which don't. It's very interesting to observe. There is more aesthetics involved at the expense of comfort sometimes. So aesthetic prevails over comfort. In Germany, it's the opposite. It has to be functional, it has to be practical. If you cannot walk 3 hours in a pair of shoes, then it's no good. And to be honest, that should be the benchmark for shoes. That's how it should be. Fabrics have to be extremely easy to care for, functional, practical, all the way. Sometimes at the expense of aesthetics. So priorities really vary there. Now, there's one thing that changed since last time I checked. In my country, this summer, I'm seeing, what I'm gonna say, it hurts me to even say it. I'm seeing little Frenchies, the under 20 crowd, so the new generation, which I feel I'm not a part of anymore, apparently, they're wearing socks and sandals. Can you believe? Like, what happened while I was away? Apparently, it's trendy now. What can I say? Okay, I think these are the major differences between France and Germany, seen from my doorstep. That might be biased, that might be incomplete. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it, about cultural cliches, if you know one or both of these countries maybe. In fact, I started this discussion with a question on my Instagram account in story a few days ago. If you want to follow me there as well, my Instagram is Justine Lecomte. Very simple. And I would like to add one more thing. If you're German, or not, if you're watching this and thinking, well, she clearly thinks that France is better, or she didn't like much of Germany, it's not the case at all. It's just different. I am French, so of course the French culture feels a bit more natural to me, and I don't have to think about it that much. But I lived in Germany for years. I loved it, no question. Both countries have fantastic advantages, are very privileged, lovely, lovely countries to live in. There is no winner here. It's just different. That's culture. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching until here and for your support always. If you'd like to watch another video after this one without leaving my channel, I recommend, it's an oldie but a goodie, a video that I did a couple of years ago about fashion tips that French women tend to respect while also building their own styles. This video will be linked here in the card in the corner and down below in the video description for you. See you soon. Take care and enjoy your summer. Bye.